Most people don't think much about storing potatoes because they keep well just as they come out of the garden. However, for some of us, we want to do some advanced preparation so that we can move things along quicker when we're actually ready to eat. Canning is one alternative. New potatoes work very well with canning. Larger potatoes or older potatoes also can be canned. They're going to have to be cut into smaller pieces, however, before you can work with them. Another alternative would be to dry them, and you can slice them into about quarter-inch, eighth-inch slices and put them in a dehydrator and eventually have something that will resemble a potato casserole that you could prepare or that you could have bought from the grocery store and save money doing it that way. However, what we're going to look at today is freezing potatoes, and many types of potatoes can be frozen. However, it depends on how you've prepared them to get them in there. Basically, there are three ways that you can prepare them and put them in the freezer. Mashed potatoes, using your favorite recipe, will go into the freezer. Twice-baked potatoes will also go in, which is in essence another form of a mashed potato. And French fries also go in there, and most of us know that because we go to the grocery store and buy them from time to time. What we're going to look at today is the type of potato that will freeze well and how to go about it. Now, we're going to be using red potatoes because they have a texture that will hold together better than a longer, wider potato will. And we want to make sure that we prepare them for French fries in a fairly uniform size. So we have here an example of a gadget that you can get a hold of. The peeled potato, because the peel won't stay on in the freezer, goes in here. You push down real hard and the French fries come out the other end in fairly uniform pieces. Now, what you have here are examples of what those pieces look like. You notice that they're all fairly similar in size. As I said, you will need to take the peel off because once it's frozen, that peel will detach and then you'll have a little bit of a mess in your freezer that won't hold together the way homemade French fries will. Now, you can do the next step in a couple of ways. You can either deep fry your potatoes or you can oven bake your potatoes. I'm going to choose that method because it's lower in fat. But even doing that, we're going to drizzle them with a little bit of vegetable oil or margarine or melted butter, something like that, that will enable them to have a little bit of oil to them. We stir that together so they're all fairly well coated. And then you spread them out one layer thick on a baking pan. Now, if you had started with new potatoes that were a little bit large that you just dug, you would still need to peel them, but many times just a good scrubbing will get all that peel off. Now, some of the French fries that we buy in the supermarket have a lot of seasonings added to them in the freezer section, and you may want to experiment with that with small batches. However, many seasonings change flavor in the freezer as they're stored, and so you would probably want to do some experimentation to find out those which hold up better. Pepper, for instance, may not taste the same. Garlic might work a little bit, and paprika might look pretty. But you might want to try some of those before you go through the process of doing a lot of them at once. These then go in the oven at 450 degrees just until they start to turn brown. And you may want to turn them over from time to time so they brown evenly, but you don't want them to get too browned because the final browning is going to take place when you actually take them out and reheat them. Once you get them out of the oven after they've started to brown a little bit, put them in the refrigerator to cool them as fast as possible. Many times when we're freezing, we blanch and we put things in ice water. With French fried potatoes that are partly cooked, you wouldn't want to do that, however. So put them in the refrigerator to cool them as quick. Make sure you've got some space in there so you can do that. Then bag them up in a freezer bag or a freezer container in the quantities that you can use at one meal so that you don't have to open a large bag and seal it again later. Make sure that you label it with what's in there, and because these frozen potato products, whether it be mashed potatoes, twice bakes, or French fries, will only keep for 1 month at 0 degrees Fahrenheit, you want to make sure that you label it either with the date you put it in or with the date that you need to use it by so that you don't have things in longer. We find that the longer they go, the lower the quality, and it drops pretty quick. So try and rotate them out. Use it as you would batch cooking for quantity cooking for other meals. If you're making French fries, go ahead and make enough for several meals. Eat some of them today and store the rest in the freezer for later. It's fun. I think you'll find that you enjoy the flavor a little bit more, and you can get the rest of the family involved with you. Everybody likes things that are homemade better than things that come from the store. So go ahead and give it a try. For Oklahoma Gardening, this is Barbara Brown.